We have a very special guest today. It's my good friend Susan Ruth, who is an extremely talented musician, painter, director. You may know her from the very popular Hey Human podcast, of which I was a guest recently on episode... Susan, what episode?
422.
422.
A plethora of pythons.
It's called A Plethora of Pythons. So anyway, check that out. But here's the thing. Usually when I bring a guest on, it's normally a friend who's afraid of snakes and I help them get over snakes. But with Susan, it's the opposite. Susan loves snakes and she's considering getting one. So today I'm going to try to help her decide what kind of snake might be best for her. Or should she even get a snake? Maybe she should get a dog or a cat or a bird, fish, goat. I love goats. Anyway. You can. You absolutely can. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Bob. Hi, everybody.
Well done. Good work. So you have met many of my snakes.
I have.
You've been here a number of times.
I have.
And played with snakes. So let me just ask you, when you think about having a snake, what kind? You probably know a couple of different kinds of snakes.
Yes.
Yeah?
I love Pip. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
So the Pygmy ball python.
No, just pygmy python.
Pygmy. Oh, Pygmy python.
Python. Yeah.
She's so cute. And then this baby's very gorgeous.
Maya. The
And
black-headed
then
python.
Echo is so sweet. I mean,
Reticulated python.
it's
Yeah.
hard to choose.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I love snakes.
Okay. So all right. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, how much room do you have in your place? I haven't been to your new place yet, but I think it's smaller than your last place.
It is pretty small. It's about 600 square feet,
Okay.
I think.
Do you have space for a cage this size?
Yeah, I can make it work.
Or maybe a cage this
Probably
size?
more like this size.
More like this size.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So let me just translate that. What I pointed to is a 5-foot long cage. This one is a 3-foot long cage. She said more like this, and she said maybe this one could work. So a 4x2x2 would probably be great, which is a very common cage size.
Look at me.
So now let's talk about this. So now that I have an idea of what size you want, you're probably not going to get a mainland reticulated python that gets 15 feet. So we can rule that out. When you imagine having a snake, do you imagine yourself interacting with it?
Yes.
I knew that answer. I had to ask it because that's the thing. Okay, so we can probably rule out. Let's rule out venomous snakes. That's
Okay.
a whole group that we can rule out.
Sure.
And then maybe possibly rule out some of the completely arboreal species, which you can interact with, but it's a little bit trickier to do so. So that would be like a green tree python or an emerald tree boa that is always sitting curled up in a tree.
Right.
Okay.
Although I am really tall.
You could be the tree.
I can be the tree.
Which is basically what you are for any snake that you're holding is a warm tree.
I know. Last time, one of Bob's snakes got real cuddly inside my overalls and hung out behind my back.
Oh, that's right. You're right, because you wore overalls.
It was a girl one.
I have a lot of girl ones. I have no idea which
white
snake
one,
it was.
the pretty white.
Oh, it was Kada.
Kada.
Yeah. We're gonna bring out some snakes. In fact, let's bring one out right now. Now, if we're talking about an animal in general, are you okay that your pet doesn't necessarily love you back?
What are you trying to say?
I mean, it's not that they're not going to like you. Look, at this snake is very tolerant of me, and she's totally okay with people holding her, but she probably doesn't love me. She's tolerant.
I've read her diary.
Okay. So, right. So we'll skip that question.
No, that's a good question. I think that's an important question because I think, look, the reason why we get a lot of animals is because companionship and love. And you mentioned dogs and cats and all the others. And I mean, I'm for all those animals.
Yeah.
And they definitely love you back.
Yeah. A lot of times people get a snake thinking that it's going to be a good companion. And then they realize that, you know, with this new baby snake that they got, they can only handle it like once or twice a week for a while. And they're like, oh, I want it to be with me all the time and I want it to love me. And then they realize, oh, it's probably going to tolerate you but not ever love you. You know what I mean?
I couldn't hold her every day. Put little hats on her.
So if you had Delilah, and I'm not giving you Delilah, Delilah would tolerate being held every day.
Yeah.
But probably what you're going to end up starting out with, maybe not, but probably is a baby snake,
Yeah.
which you know, maybe a few times a week or something like that, just to get them
Is that better
socialized.
to get a baby snake so that they grow up knowing you and all that?
I mean, for some people, a lot of people like to raise their snake, you know.
Sure.
But sometimes
She knows you.
sometimes you get an adult snake and they do just fine too, you know.
What is considered, you know how for dogs it's 7 years to every 1 year for humans? Well, what is it for snake?
Whatever the math is, snakes live, let's say, 30 years.
That's a
on
long
average.
time.
It's a really long time. So that's another thing to consider when you're getting a snake like this. I mean, not all snakes. We're talking about pythons.
Sure, sure.
And also, you know, we could talk about corn snakes. We could talk about king snakes, garter snakes. You know, like, do you want a whole bunch of them in one cage? If you do, a garter snake would be great because you could get 10 garter snakes in a cage and have them slithering all over the place.
I grew up catching garter snakes and letting them go, of course, but my brother and I used to hang out in the backyard and go under the sun rocks and get garter snakes. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That's where my love of snakes began.
Oh, I love it. Here, let's switch her out with somebody else because she is just starting
Yeah.
a shed.
Okay. Does that make them grumpy when they shed?
It doesn't make them grumpy, but at this point in the shed, she's just starting, and she just doesn't really want to be messed with. But look how not head shy she is, right?
she's
Like
beautiful.
most snakes don't like their head to be touched, but she
Sure.
doesn't mind.
How
but
do you feel about it?
I'm okay. Give it a try. Give it a try.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
nice.
not bad, right? So I didn't jump away. I didn't
No.
flinch.
It's good.
So anyway, as she gets more deeper into the shed, like in a few days,
Yeah.
her eyes are going to get cloudy, and she won't be able to see very well. So it's
Really?
not that she's grumpy; it's that she doesn't want to be messed with, and she's not able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And you take one of those senses away, and it makes them a little bit more nervous.
I get that.
So, all right, let's grab another one.
Okay. Bye, sweetie.
You may have met Max. He's young.
Yellow baby.
You might have met him last time you were
Ooh, he's
over.
upside down. Hi, Max.
But he would have been pretty young. He's the son of the inspector, Detective
met-
Inspector Rorschach, the yellow one that lives in this
Yes,
cage.
okay.
You've met
I met
the
him,
inspector.
yeah.
Yeah.
How big is he going to get?
He will be 4 to 5 feet. Probably never reach 5 feet, but he could potentially.
That's pretty
So,
big.
so that's another thing. These, ball pythons.
Ooh, he's ticklish.
If we're talking about a ball python, because right now that seems like it might be a good snake for you, especially if you have a 4x2x2 cage, something
They can
like
grow
that.
into. You can start them as long as they have little enclosures, right, when they're babies?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people will put a baby in a 4x2x2. You just have to make sure that they have plenty of hides, plenty of clutter, and they usually do fine. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go, whoa, this is way too big. I need something that's more like its dark, safe den. So if we're talking about ball pythons, they can get, if you have a male, let me show you my biggest male. Actually, the inspector might be a little bit bigger.
I've met him. I remember him.
Yeah, this
I
is
remember his
this is
coloring.
Captain Farrell. And now I don't overfeed my males, so I don't let them get huge. But he's this big. Size-wise, there's a male that's fed fairly conservatively. Okay? So check this out. I'm going to put Max back. Right? So this is Damara. Now here's the
Damara.
thing. She's full of eggs.
Congrats,
can you
Mom.
feel that?
Yeah, I can.
So
She's huge.
Yeah. So
Where's the best place to hold her?
right about there is good.
Yeah.
This is about as big as a ball
Hi,
python will
honey.
get. Sometimes they
Hi.
get bigger, but not many.
Who's Dad?
Dad here is the inspector. Yeah.
Mazel.
All right, I'm going to put her back because she
beautiful.
needs to
She's
go
so
back on her
warm.
nest. Yeah.
Yeah. How many babies or eggs will she make?
She'll usually between 6 and 8, but
Okay.
she's so big that she could have, like, it could be 10 or 12. So you've held baby ball pythons before because
Yes.
I usually have some when you come over.
Gorgeous.
So that's just a size comparison. Yeah, that's Han. He's super pretty.
Gorgeous. So warm.
Yeah, because he was sitting on the warm side.
Hi, bud.
Now, here's the thing. Snakes, did you notice what he did when you put your hand over him?
Yeah,
He ducked in
Yeah,
really
he
quick.
ducked
Yeah,
in.
because they're naturally afraid of anything coming over the top.
sorry, bud.
So that's the other reason that I try to go under them all the time
That makes sense.
because it helps. And so anyway,
He's beautiful.
yeah. So you might start off if you decided to get a ball python. You might start off with a snake this size and then end up with a snake the size of Damara. So
You have to be prepared for that.
you got to be ready for that.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's talk about activity level.
Okay.
You want to interact with your snake. With a ball python, as you've seen, when you put them around your neck, they're pretty much there.
Yeah.
They might try to slither off really slowly. It's going to take them 10 minutes to do so, whatever. But you can, with a lot of them, you can have them sit on your lap and you can watch a movie, right? But then there are other snakes, like rat snakes and a lot of the colubrids, which I can't show you because I don't have any, or some of my semi-arboreal pythons that are a lot more active. And when you have them out, you've got to really focus on them.
Oh, interesting. What does colubrid mean?
Colubrid is a type of snake that many snakes in the world fall under. If you name a snake that's not a python, not a boa, and not venomous, you're probably going to name a colubrid.
Got it.
Like a corn snake.
Oh, I know what a corn snake is. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's certain snakes that when you take them out to play with them, you got to have eyes on them, or at least you have to be paying attention because they're more active. Let's maybe see one of those snakes.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Let's move the camera. Hey everybody, it's Future Bob again, back with another fancy hat from the future. You know, I realized as I was editing this video that I showed Molly as a baby, Han's mother, but we didn't pull her out to show her as an adult, so I thought that I would do that. And while doing that, we should probably scroll the Patreon supporters who support this channel over on patreon.com/greenroompythons. They get all kinds of perks and such like that. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can join for free actually, if you want to. But here's Molly Malone as an adult. She is, I think that photo of Susan probably came over 4 years ago. Molly was still a fairly young baby, so that would have been about 4 years ago. And now this is Molly. She's not a big ball python, but she is breeding size. I would, if I was breeding her right now, I would want her a little bit fatter. But she's never going to be a big snake, I don't think, like Damara or like Kada is. Those snakes are probably twice the size of Molly as far as thickness. Maybe not quite twice the length, but anyway. So this is super manageable, easy adult breeding size ball python who's not quite up to body condition to be breeding at the moment, which is okay because we're not breeding her right now. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying this video with Susan. I figured you guys would like Susan. But these type of videos where I bring in a guest into the green room, I hope you enjoy because there's going to be a number of them coming up. And I know that because I've shot a bunch already. So we've got some really cool guests coming into the green room for various reasons, to get over their fear or to talk about keeping snakes or to just show Dave Kaufman all my snakes. That happens. So you're going to see that in probably a couple months. So anyway, I hope you like that. Let me know if you like those kind of videos. Because if you don't, I won't do any more. These ones are going up, but I won't do any more if you don't like them. I think most of you like them, though. Anyway, this is Molly Malone. These are the Patreon supporters. Thanks so much to them. And thanks to our channel sponsors, Black Box Cages, Lane Labs, The Royals Project, and Rare Genetics RGI. Check out those guys if you can, because it's great, I think, to support the companies that support a channel that you enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy this channel. I'm assuming you do, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. All right, let's get back to the video. We got all kinds of stuff going on in this one. Now we're talking about semi-arboreal snakes. Yeah.
Ooh, she gave me a good squeeze.
Yeah, so you see how she immediately wraps right around you?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. And she's a snake that...
She's so excited.
I know. So this is a snake that you kind of have to pay a little bit more attention to. She's never going to let you just sit and watch a movie with her curled up on your lap.
She's squiggly.
She's always going to move. Not super fast. She can be fast if she wants, but she's still a python and she's still going to go kind of slow. But she just wants to get to things. She wants to get on things.
She's curious. Does that mean she's a smarter snake?
They're considered the second smartest snake in the world.
Atta girl.
The king cobra being the first. I always say that I don't know how they determine that, but she is very interactive, totally knows me, will come up to me in the room when I'm shooting a video. She'll come right up to me and see what's going on. Whereas a ball python generally won't. So you can let her go on this if you want.
Okay. Are you ready for oh, hi.
So
Yeah.
just hold her right there. Don't do anything and see what she wants to do. And
let her in, baby girl.
She'll make her decision. She's a super dwarf reticulated python. She will eventually be bigger than a ball python as far as longer, quite a bit longer than a ball python, but her body mass won't be as much.
Okay.
You know?
And I love how engaged she is.
Yeah, she's super engaged. She's interested, not scared of people at all.
You are gorgeous.
Thanks.
Holy moly.
The snake. Yeah, so his name is Handsome Dan.
I can see why.
Now,
Hi.
back away from the ladder a little bit, right
He
there.
is strong.
Yeah. So what can you tell me about this snake?
He is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
He's a little slicker than the other ones.
Do you have any idea what kind of snake he is?
Oh, python?
He's not a python.
He's not? Is he a constrictor? Because he's so tight?
He is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, are pythons and constrictors the same?
pythons are constrictors in that they do that with their body,
But he seems more
he's
into it.
he's a boa.
Yeah.
This is a viable option for you too. We were talking about ball pythons, super dwarf reticulated pythons, which might be a little bit big for you, even though you love those snakes.
Yeah.
If you get a boa imperator like this, and he's a Central American, so he's going to stay a little bit smaller because sometimes boas get huge.
He is tight. Look at his
Right?
grip.
He'll cut the circulation off. He'll rearrange your fingers. He'll cut the circulation off on your arm. That's just him trying to hang on.
Yeah.
You know, they're pound for pound stronger than pythons. A little bit more active than a ball python. I know,
He's
right?
tight.
Yeah, but he's cool, right?
Super cool.
And notice the difference in head shape from him to the ball pythons. He's got that like sharp look.
Ooh, he just kissed me.
I know.
Cute.
I know.
Handsome Dan, you old so-and-so.
He's good at curling around
This
stuff.
tree was made for you, friend.
So this is a good option potentially for you. But the only difference, or the only thing that you'd have to be careful of, is that there's a wide range of sizes that boas could potentially get to.
Sure.
And so you'd want to make sure that you're getting one that is not going to get massive. Now, last time you saw Pip, I probably had just gotten her.
She was a little smaller.
So she was 9 grams when I got her. You probably saw her at 12 grams maybe. She's about 35 now.
She is adorable.
She's super cute, right? So now here's the thing. For space, she doesn't need a big cage. She can have a much smaller cage.
Will she chill out if I watch a movie?
Yes, absolutely. You could chill out with her. And I doubt she'll ever reach 2 feet.
Yeah.
Probably 18 inches is about as long as she'll be.
She has pretty eyes.
Mm-hmm. She's got bright orange eyes. There's a genus called Antaresia, and she belongs to that genus. The pygmy python, they're all small snakes in that genus. There's like 4.
Okay.
Pygmy python is the smallest python in the world. But there's also Stimson's pythons, children's pythons, spotted pythons that are like between 3 and 5 feet. Mm-hmm. You know, but also thinner. So like my male ball python that I said was going to be about 4 feet. A children's python might be 4 feet as well, but thinner too. So still just a much smaller snake than a ball python because they're not as heavy bodied. But also just really slow and chill and totally happy to just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
But also you're not going to take her and put her around your neck. You're not going to have that feeling that I know you like of a big snake like crawling on your shoulders, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that with her. You love that plant, huh, pal? That's great.
Ah, she's bigger than last time.
Of course, yeah. She's a lot bigger than last time.
Holy moly.
Yeah, because snakes are always growing. I've fed her a few times since last time you were over.
I love that she looks like an oil slick.
I know that you love the black-headed pythons, but she's not full grown yet. Wow. And
She's going to be big.
she's going to be a big girl.
Look at that beautiful face.
I know.
Yeah, you.
A couple of quick things that I want to ask you before we go forward. Are you okay with feeding rodents?
Yeah.
Okay. So not necessarily
live or dead?
No, dead. They can be frozen thawed. And then you travel a lot, just like I do. Mm-hmm. You go out of town for gigs. You go out of town for vacations, movie stuff.
Not as many vacations, I wish. That'd be nice.
Yeah, but you do some traveling. What's the longest you go for?
A couple weeks.
Okay. So the cool thing about a snake...
Don't break into my apartment.
Yeah. Let's put her address up right on screen. Can we get that? Can we get the address? Thanks. So the cool thing is, snakes obviously don't eat every day, but they do need to have their water changed a couple times a week, something like that.
Yeah, snake sitter.
So you get a snake sitter. I'm gone sometimes for a couple weeks, and in those cases, there's usually a few snakes that Lucy needs to feed. But if you just had one snake or a couple of snakes or whatever, you could time the feeding so that they can take 2 weeks off. You feed them right before you leave, and then they,
Sure.
But somebody would need to come in and change water.
Yeah.
So much easier than having a dog or a bird or something that has to have care every day.
Yeah.
Let's get 2 more arboreal species, little tiny ones.
Little baby.
All right.
Oh, hi kids.
These are a Bredl's python and a coastal carpet python. They're very similar in species, and they both get relatively big. There are carpet pythons that get smaller than them, but they'll get like 7 to 8 feet, something like that. But they're more arboreal. They're longer and thinner bodied. So even though they might get 7 feet, even 8 feet potentially, there have been 10 feet. Coastal carpet pythons occasionally get 10 feet long, but they're still not a big snake. Their bodies aren't super fat.
Okay.
So they're a possibility, but
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. They move around a lot, though.
They are very wiggly.
So again, we're talking about eventually, potentially a bigger cage.
I think he likes me.
I think he does too.
So it really depends on the breed as to how often they eat and
The species.
Different species.
Yeah, because breed is like for a dog or a cat.
Species. Okay.
So different species, yeah.
Different species.
And their age, what they eat, how often they eat.
Mm-hmm.
As these guys eat once a week right now, but as they get bigger, they'll eat once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks.
You would think it would be the opposite.
Yeah. It ends up being bigger prey sizes less often.
Could this type snake roam around freely in your apartment?
Yes, not at this age.
No.
But,
how do you know the age when they can do
well,
that?
it's not so much the age, it's the size of the snake.
Ain't it though?
So Pip will never be able to free roam.
Pip.
She can go into like some other enclosed area and roam around, but never in the place. But these two, both of these, is she just going into my pocket fully? Oh no, she's coming around.
She went the other end.
Okay. So these two, oh there she is, now I can see her, will be great free roamers because they'll eventually be pretty big and they'll be all over the place. And they'll have, the snake wall they're going to love, the coat rack, whatever else I have in 2 to 3 years when they're of size to do it on their own. So of the snakes that we talked about, like you love every snake that I put in your hands.
I know.
But if you're talking about realistically keeping one, what do you think is one that?
Oh, this one's kind of cute. These are so
Yeah, but I know they're.
I really like Pip. I don't know what it is about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your preference to have the really tiny snake.
She's just, I don't know, I bonded to Pip. But I also, I like her as well with the babies coming.
Damara. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a huge snake.
Okay. All right. So let me
I'm
put it
not
this
being
way.
helpful.
No, but this is tough because this is what happens when you go to a reptile show. Is you see these snakes, you're like, oh, I feel like I bonded with that one, but then there's that one. But you got to think about, like, forget about the personalities of the ones, because you're not picking one of these out, right? You're not taking these. So just in general, let's say you had a snake that was just the sweetest thing in the world, and you loved that snake, but now you get to choose what species that snake is.
I would think something that doesn't get super big, but I like the idea of somebody that can roam around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a pygmy python would never.
Yeah. I like the idea of a snake being able to live his full life, or her best life.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. So with a ball python, you could have them climbing around your place, but you wouldn't have big, tall climbing apparatuses for them. They'll climb up on your furniture and stuff like that, but you're not going to put them on something really high that they can fall off of.
Yeah.
But then if you decided that you wanted to go a little bit bigger with a cage and have something like this, then you could have climbing apparatuses for them.
I would do that.
Or whatever. But you would need to go bigger for a cage eventually, probably. Hey guys, Future Bob again. Just real quick, spoiler alert, we never land on a specific species, but Susan did tell me a couple days later that she wants to wait until she moves again so that she has a little bit bigger place and she knows exactly how much space she has. So probably a follow-up video coming in the future. Thanks for coming over and talking to me about snakes.
Thanks, everybody, for indulging my absolute love of snakes.
Thanks for watching, you guys. See you next week.
You won't notice if I leave with this guy.
I would notice. I think I would notice.
You would. It's the best day ever.